Tonight, the leader of the opposition and the Speaker of the House set to face off in court again, this time over procedural issues in Parliament. St. Lucia becomes the fifth CARICOM country to accede to the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final appellate court, and finance officials have disclosed that the local economy is expanding.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Daniela Edwin.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, May 10th, 2023. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We are on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you for joining us. The leader of the political opposition, Alan Chastanet, is suing the Speaker of the House of Assembly over the indefinite suspension order from the Parliament declared by Claudius Francis. Chastanet is also seeking, among other legal remedies, undisclosed damages for breach or other contravention of his constitutional rights and wrongful arrest or detention. Karim Nelson begins tonight's reporting.
The legal battle between the Speaker of the House of Parliament, Claudius Francis, and the leader of the opposition, Alan Chastanet, goes into overtime as the two head to the courts again. This comes just weeks after Chastanet filed a claim for tens of thousands in cost and undisclosed damages in the High Court over the Privileges Committee matter. This time the pair are at loggerheads again over House procedures, which Chastanet claims contravene his human and civil rights. In an affidavit filed by Chastanet, the leader of the opposition argues that the Standing Orders 43.4 and 43.6 used by the Speaker of the House as a basis for Chastanet's indefinite suspension from the Parliament are unconstitutional and should be viewed as null and void. As a result, the leader of the opposition is seeking, among other reliefs from the court, an injunction against the Speaker of the House from excluding or otherwise preventing the claimant from attending any sitting of the House, damages for wrongful arrest or detention, and other reliefs that the courts deems just as well as costs and incidentals. According to Chastanet, at the foundation of this case, which was filed this week, is upholding the Constitution.
This court case today that we filed yesterday is a landmark case in the defense of our Constitution, in the defense of our civil rights. And it's not about Alan Chastanet, but it's about all of us. And I want to thank the hundreds of people who have already contacted me in support for what we're doing. We're going to be doing a major fundraiser to raise monies for this case, because this case is a milestone case in the history of St. Lucia. And I'm hoping that everybody will join me in support to make sure we remind this government that while they may have a supermajority, we do have our Constitution, and that they have to live within the remits of our laws and our Constitution.
Legal action is also being taken against the island's Attorney General. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Karim Nelson.
St. Lucia is now officially the fifth CARICOM member state to accede to appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ. The amendment to the Constitution was assented to by the Governor General. As a stamp of approval and recognition, the President of the Caribbean Court of Justice has welcomed St. Lucia to the institution and congratulated the island on the momentous occasion.
The 22-year vision of St. Lucia becoming a fully fledged member of the Caribbean Court of Justice has finally been realized, receiving a stamp of recognition by the President, Justice Adrian Saunders. St. Lucia is now the fifth CARICOM nation to take this defining step, and the CCJ welcomes the opportunity to serve the citizens of that country. Statistics collated by the court in 2022 reveal that in each Caribbean state that has acceded to the CCJ's appellate jurisdiction, the volume of cases being heard by the country's final court annually has at least doubled, thereby contributing to the dynamism of the country's jurisprudence and considerably expanding access to justice for its citizenry. St. Lucia's move to the Caribbean Court of Justice was accelerated by the current regime at the behest of Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who argued that the transition to the CCJ would signal the removal of the final shackles of colonialism. On February 28, 2023, the lower house passed the historic bill to amend the Constitution of St. Lucia and paved the way for ascension to the appellate jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice.
This is a historic day in the history of the people of St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is historic because we as a people are showing that we have confidence in ourselves, that we have confidence in our jurisprudence, and we have confidence in the people of the region, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, these amendments to the Constitution of St. Lucia will mean that all appeals to any matter taken up in the lower courts in St. Lucia, the final appeal will be to the Caribbean Court of Justice, Mr. Speaker, instead of the Privy Council.
The CCJ has written to the Honorable Chief Justice of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court and the President of the St. Lucia Bar Association, informing of the readiness of the CCJ's registry staff to assist St. Lucian court officials, litigants, and counsel alike in the use of the CCJ's electronic filing and case management portals in order to facilitate access to the court. The CCJ looks forward to more CARICOM states accessing the CCJ's appellate jurisdiction in the future. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
St. Lucia's 2022 real gross domestic product GDP growth rate of 18.1% stands atop the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union as the best performing economy, besting the likes of Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Dominica. This is now the second successive year that St. Lucia's economy has realized real GDP growth, which suggests substantial economic recovery. Director of Finance Imran Williams informs that the expansion of the economy was a result of the gains derived from the reviving tourism sector.
The main drivers of that increase are specifically led by the tourism sector. What we realized on the 2022 figures on top of 2021, we've more than doubled our visitor arrivals. And with that, you can well imagine given our main foreign earner, as the tourism sector expands, you have quite a bit of spillover taking place in the other aspects of the economy, such as retail and wholesale, transportation.
The finance director went on to note that despite the positive gains achieved, the island is still rebounding from the downturn of the COVID-19 pandemic, as the figures have not returned to pre-COVID levels.
We are still in recovery mode, and you can look at it based on our indicators. We still haven't met our pre-COVID numbers as yet. But what it does show, nevertheless, is that we're rebounding very quickly, especially now that when you look at, like I indicated, the 2021 versus 2022 visitor arrivals, we've more than doubled. So that's a very good indication of where our economy is going into 2023, 2024 on.
Williams projects that based on the island's trajectory, by the end of 2023, St. Lucia's economy will make the transition from recovery mode to expansion. You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come on the broadcast. The Vendors Association calls for sustainable support for local artisans to help them upscale the industry. And average citizens are set to benefit from the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. The details to these stories and more when we come back.